All of this is Republican Senator Jim Banks of Indiana. He is on the Armed Services Committee and the Veterans Affairs Committee. Sir, thank you so much for being with us. And I do want to talk about tariffs here in just a minute. But first, let's talk about the Department of Government Efficiency, because I know you were in a meeting where you got a briefing. And also, you're, as I mentioned, on the Veterans Affairs Committee as the department is facing some cuts. Do you think that Congress should have a vote on DOGE cuts?
Well, we will, and we will vote on cutting spending. But in the meantime, Elon Musk and President Trump are doing exactly what they told the voters that they would do before the election, and that's cut waste and abuse out of the federal government. Well over 70% of Americans support President Trump in doing just that. And you think about working class Americans, Hoosiers sitting at home who work hard, go to work every day, they pay taxes. They don't want to hear about their tax dollars going to fund transgender surgeries and studies on animals and LGBTQ centers and African countries that they've never heard of before. Let's cut out the waste. There's a lot of waste to cut. You'll be surprised by how much government you will never miss. That's a fact. And President Trump and Elon Musk and DOGE effort, which Republicans in Congress fully support, is just getting started, and it's cutting a lot of the waste out of the government. But we will cut spending when it comes to spending bills, and Congress can and should do that to make these cuts permanent. We have a duty to do that as well.
No doubt. I think there's a lot of support for shrinking the size of government and rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. But there have been actions here that have actually run counter to that, I think, as you're aware, with some of these firings of IGs and the like. But in the meantime, you know, with Congress holding the power of the purse, why abdicate that to Elon Musk?
It's not an abdication. It's Elon Musk and the President of the United States rooting out waste in the federal government, and the public supports that. They want that to happen. The president, the executive branch, taking actions that are long overdue to root out waste, to root out bureaucracy, to cut bureaucracy. A $37 trillion national debt. This is one way to cut that waste out and get us on a path to fiscal sanity. So, but let's be clear about this. I'm a veteran. I served in the war in Afghanistan, and I want the VA to work for veterans, not work for the bureaucracy. Cut it. The VA can work so much more efficiently if you take more bureaucracy away and focus more on veterans. And that's what DOGE is doing, looking for ways to make the VA and all federal agencies more efficient and how they deliver services. 45 days into this administration, and a lot of good things have happened. There's a lot more to come.
Okay, so far we're not hearing DOGE talking about how to make it actually better for veteran services and benefits at the VA. There are reports of already overburdened benefit staff being canned. I'm hearing personally worry among VA employees that mental health professionals are among probationary staff who have been cut. Can you assure Americans that these VA cuts, and we're hearing, the 70,000 on the table here, that will not affect veteran care and benefits that they receive from the VA?
Absolutely. I mean, President Trump is so pro-veteran. He had a great track record for veterans in his first term. I serve on the Veterans Committee in the Senate, and we're going to do so much more to make the VA work for our veterans by creating more community care and getting services directly to the veteran instead of more red tape. And that's what DOGE is doing, is cutting red tape. And Congress and the president, we're going to come in and work together to make the VA work better for veterans. We're just getting started. We're on a roll, but we're just getting started.
So far, it's not cutting red tape, right? So far, it is freezing contracts and it is cutting workers, right? Indiscriminately. You have the president saying he's going to convene biweekly cabinet sessions to make things precise, which is his word, right? To make things precise here. So this internal VA memo that's talking about returning staffing to 2019 levels, you're aware because you voted for it in 2022 when it was signed into law. 2019 predates that, when millions more veterans became eligible for VA benefits due to the PACT Act, that landmark bill that you voted for, that President Biden signed to cover veterans affected by toxic exposures like burn pits. How do you take care of all these new claimants when you're looking at cuts this large?
Look, like I said, I'm just not seeing it. I mean, the VA is a large bureaucracy. It can be run so much more efficiently. It's not about bricks and mortar and more government employees. It's about the veteran. Put the veteran first, and that's what President Trump is focused on. That's what I'm focused on in the Senate on the Veterans Affairs Committee. We're going to make sure that the VA works better for our veterans than it's ever worked before.
Does it put veterans first to cut people who work on their benefits or who provide them health care?
I'm just not convinced that that's happening. I'm not convinced that that's happening.
Are you?
In fact,
I'm
can
I ask you, Senator? Are you talking to your constituents?
I hear from my constituents every day. They want the VA to be less bureaucratic and more focused on the veteran. I am a veteran. That's what President Trump is focused on. That's what I'm focused on as well. The talking points of the VA cutting necessary employees who are focused on veterans is bogus. It's not provable. The fact is that DOJ, President Trump, myself, Republicans in the Senate and the Congress, we're going to make sure that this VA works better for veterans than ever before. I guarantee it.
You're aware they cut people from the hotline, right? And then reinstated them. But that there are still a number of key support staff on that hotline who have not been rehired, the silent monitors and other folks. I mean, are you tracking that?
I'm tracking that the VA is a large bureaucracy, and there are ways to make it more efficient to work better for veterans. I can keep repeating that over and over again.
That's direct care to veterans who are utilizing.
There are no signs that the VA There are no signs that the VA is working less for our veterans today than what it was 45 days ago. President Trump is focused on our veterans, delivering care to our veterans, and we're going to do that. And we're going to do it even more efficiently than ever before.
So you endorse the cuts to key support staff on the veteran hotline.
There have not been cuts to key support staff at the VA. The VA is going to work more efficiently, and DOJ is going to recommend and find ways to do that. And Congress. It is true. The 45 days into this administration, President Trump is focused, I'm focused, Republicans are focused on making the VA work better. I mean, the fact is what President Trump did in his first term to provide more community care and better options to our veterans, whether it's at a VA hospital or at a private hospital.
To the VA right now.
He did historic and great things to the VA for the VA in his first term.
Sir,
he's going to do even more and greater things for the VA in his second term. I'm not changing the subject. Okay. Your bogus claims you can't prove that the VA is less equipped to care for veterans today than what it was 45 days ago. The fact is, President Trump's going to make the VA work better than ever before.
I'll send you the reporting. It's really quite easy. It's pretty basic. I'll send it your way. Senator Banks, thank you so much.